All right, we're live. We're live. Hey, this is Justin Bondietti, and I've got a special treat tonight. I'm super excited to be talking with Jim Burlison. Right? Did I say that correctly? And Jim he's not only is a fellow Grant Cardone licensee, but Jim is also a John Maxwell certified coach, right?
Correct.
And you have decades of experience in sales. Not only just selling things front line, but also sales management, sales training, and really just diving in deep to all facets of sales. Is that right?
That's correct.
Awesome,
I
awesome. So,
wouldn't say decades. You can stop at a couple of decades.
hey, I just like to put out there that I might have some experience, but Jim, I definitely respect the experience that you're bringing, the wisdom that you're bringing, and I appreciate being on this call with you. Really,
I
just being on
appreciate
this call
it.
with
It's
you.
an honor to be on this call with you. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, hey guys, so everybody, it's chiming in, jumping on. Whether you're watching this as a recording, because we're going to be putting this out there. This will always be on the internet, things like that. Or if you're joining us live, hey, I appreciate the love. Somebody gave us a heart. Hey, I appreciate you, Bill Jersa. I hope I said that right. Kevin L. Gray, 10X Mentor. Hey, thanks for jumping on Facebook. We appreciate you being on there. We appreciate the support. But hey, for those of you that are watching, what this is about, what really attracted me to Jim and really wanting to jump on and talk with Jim tonight is I want to talk with folks that are thinking about, hey, my sales job sucks. I want to jump ship. I want to go somewhere else. And Jim's had the experience. He's been there, done that, been successful. And Jim, I really want to get into your thoughts and your perspective on what you should be doing if you're thinking about jumping ship to a different job, as well as what it takes to be successful in a sales job. But before we get into all of that, I've been talking for a minute. Let me turn it over to you. Please, Jim, give us a little bit of background and what you're doing now.
No, I appreciate that. So, as you said, I'm Jim Burlison. So, hey, what am I doing now? I'm in the construction business. So, I spent 24 years of my life in the automobile business. Got married when I was 17 years old. And, at that point in my life, I thought I knew everything that there was to know. So the next logical step was to get married, right? So that's what I did. I figured I conquered the high school thing
Yeah.
with a whopping 2.42 GPA. And, you go to mom and dad, I'm ready to get married now. So, but what it did is because of that commitment, it forced me into creativity, right? Is what Grant says, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So I basically had to go to work immediately. My work in high school was school and sports. That was it. So a few months afterwards, I got into the automobile business and, basically interviewed Justin and, basically was told, hey, if you're crazy enough to get married at 17, I'm going to give you a shot. And it was about a 20-minute interview process. And at the time, the owner of the dealership said, I'm just going to ask you for a favor. If you don't sell 10 cars in 30 days, don't make me fire you. Just pack up your bags and leave. I'm not
Oh,
going to fire an 18-year-old now and who's married. So, I sold my 10th car on the 30th day of August is what I did. And, Grant talks about shrinking time. It was then when I realized that would never happen to me again. I would never put myself into a position to where it's a do or die in the last day. And I shrunk time is what I did at 18 years old. And I said, okay, I've got to get 10 cars out on the 20th of the month. And then, after 3 months, I started selling 20, 26, 27 cars a month and was quickly, moved into management and was at that dealership for almost 4 years. And, after almost 4 years there, I was at a point in my life where I just realized that I loved the business, but the business where I was at was not giving me back what I was giving to it. And Saturday morning, I told my wife then, my ex-wife now, but I said, hey, just so you know, I'm quitting work today. And she said, what do you mean you're quitting work today? And I said, yeah. I said, here's what's going to happen. It's Saturday, and in the car business, we get free lunch on Saturdays, and I'm going to get my free lunch, and I'm quitting work. And she said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to stay in the car business. I love the car business. And, at that time, geez, we're talking 1990. Yeah, 1990. I was earning, just under 100,000 in 1990. So it was a scary step, but I went in, spoke with the owner of the company, said, "Here's what's going on. I love this business. You hate it. I've got to move on." And to his credit, I was at my desk, Justin, 30 minutes later, and Chrysler Corporation called me out of the blue, and they said, "Hey, we heard that you resigned, and the owner of your company just called, and when you get done with work, go around the corner. There's another Chrysler dealership around the corner. It's sold Chryslers and Dodges, not Jeeps and Rams.
Yeah.
You're going to interview there." And so that's what I did. And I told them I gave a 2-week notice. They said, "Okay, at the end of 2 weeks, you're going to start here." So I spent 20 years at that dealership. So just a great career in the car business. I absolutely still love the car business. My wife is in the car business. It is my first love in sales.
Yeah.
But through a divorce that brought a lot of things to light in my life, and what it brought to life was that we were desperately wanting custody of our boys. And I knew the car business was not going to afford me that opportunity. And even though the money was there, it wasn't trumping the opportunity, for our kids to move in with us. So I did an interview with a car dealer. I don't know what it was 3 hours. If I said 3 hours, it might have been 5 hours for all I know. And everything was great. The pay was fantastic. I came home and my wife said, her name is Melissa. She said, "Well, that's not what you're looking for. We're looking for a little bit of freedom, a little bit of flexibility so the boys can move in." And it wasn't that I hated the car business. I just knew I hated the position I was in.
Okay.
We were without the kids. And yeah, so I jumped into a totally new career. I left management of a very successful dealership and went into the construction business of home repair, foundation repair, waterproofing, structural repair, and things like that. And I went in as a salesperson. Is what I did, because I knew nothing. What I brought to them was sales. I brought team leadership. I knew what culture building was all about. Yeah. I knew what work ethic was all about, but I knew nothing about the construction industry. And so that's what I brought to them. And I said, "Hey, as long as you can teach me the construction end of it, I'll take care of the rest." And now we're 12 years deep into that. And after selling there for 7 years, I took over the director of sales position for 4 years. And now for the last about 4 or 5 months, I morphed into this corporate sales trainer mode is what I've done. So
that's awesome.
That's it, man.
Awesome.
That's a few minutes.
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Just a little bit, No, that's great. Wow, that's awesome. Hey, I just want to acknowledge some of our viewers on here. It looks like we've got several. I don't know everybody that's on there, but I can see some of the people that joined and some of the comments. Nayology, hey, thanks for jumping on Instagram. We appreciate you. We're talking with Jim Burlison here. He's got a lot of experience as far as being a frontline salesperson, sales manager, sales coach, corporate sales trainer, that sort of thing. Has a lot of experience with management. So excited to talk about that because I know we got a lot of sales managers out there that want to do a good job and really, they might put on a great front, but sometimes they're like, "Man, how can I do this? How can I motivate my guys?" So I look forward to talking with you about that. But before we get into that, let me ask you a little bit here. So you had to sell, going back to that month of August, you had to sell 10 units in 30 days. How many units were you selling before that?
None. That was it. That was my first month. I was told, yeah.
So
I literally cried like a baby on the way home that last day of the month.
Yeah.
It was anxiety release. I mean, here I'm in my car and I'm like, I almost lost my first job after getting married. And yeah, it was crazy. And it was just tears of joy, tears of relief. And then it was like, okay, that's never happening again.
Wow. So I got to ask you, of course, Grant talks about, hey, people produce when their survival is threatened,
Absolutely.
Right? Your survival is threatened. Like you were just saying, you produced. But besides that, can you remember that? Can you think of one thing that, or was there something that just sticks out in your mind that like, that's what changed? What changed in that month?
Yeah. So here's what I looked at. I looked at that dealership. They were selling about 90 cars a month. So it was not a very big dealership as far as volume is concerned back then. But what I did is I looked for evidence and I said, okay, who at the dealership is already doing it? Now I'm 18 years old. I'm just thinking, okay, who's already doing it? And if they're doing it, then I know it can be done. So
you can.
There was a salesman there. I just basically latched onto him and I said, hey, listen, here's what happened to me last month. I can't let that happen again.
Yeah.
Right. And at the time, I didn't ask him, would you mentor me? I just said, hey, I need you to show me some tricks of the trade. All right. What do you do right now? And at that time, he was selling like clockwork. He was there for like 2 years. He was selling 20 cars a month and he was making, $100,000 a year back then as a sales rep. And so that's what I did. I just looked for evidence on who is doing it. That's okay. If they're doing it, then it can be done. I just got to figure out how to do it and go to the people that are doing it. And that's who you're going to learn from.
That's awesome. So here's what I heard. This is what I heard from you just now is your survival was threatened. You committed. And instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna go look for another job, you're like, how can I be successful here? Right. And you surrounded yourself with success by finding those that were successful. And then you were open to being like, look, you know what you're doing. I don't. Tell me what you're doing and I'm going to go do it. Right. So you're willing to receive that and actually apply it. So I got to ask you about the applying portion of it we got Rosa Emilia Garcia. Hey, how you doing? Hi, Kay. Is it Cabe or Cabe? 10X?
That's my middle name. They call me Cabe at the company. Yeah. Yeah. They're great. I love it. 10X.
Yeah. Wonderful. So we also got Mike Glover. Hey, Mike, good to see you on Instagram. Appreciate you jumping on. So just real quick though, I was really interested in. It's one thing to know, right? To know a skill or that's what I need to do, right? I can read it in a book. Somebody can tell me what to do, but the actual application of it. How did you? What advice now would you give a frontline salesperson that's experiencing that? Like, yeah, I know what I should be doing, but I'm having that hesitation of actually applying it.
Yeah, it all starts with commitment, right? That's exactly what it starts with. Grant talks about that all the time. It starts with commitment, and then you've got to have action. So once you've committed to doing it, then you've got to lay out the plan, right? And then you've got to work the plan is what you've got to do. So, I mean, we see it every day. We'll have sales reps come in, they'll interview at our company. And during the interview process, Justin, they're at their best behavior, right? They were the god of sales at their previous company. Their work ethic is second to none. And it's a different story when they arrive. So when we get somebody that we really see that, hey, this guy is walking the talk, right? We see that. What we want to do is we want to get them with somebody who's been there, done that. So we have a mentor program within our company. So that way that they know, KNOW, they're going to get the knowledge, they're going to get the wisdom, so they get less no's in the middle.
That's right.
So they're not walking this walk alone. And I think so many people, they're probably, I don't know if it's a pride thing, to be honest with you. They feel like they have to do it on their own. And maybe they weren't taught that, hey, you shouldn't do it on your own. The quickest way to get from point A to point B, and really from point A to point Z, is get yourself around other people that have been there, done that. But if you don't start with committed, like, hey, there is no going back.
Yeah.
Right. The easiest thing I could have done at 18 years old, find the next job. This is just too tough, too much pressure. But I saw guys that were doing it and they were having fun. I'm like, okay, well, you can sell cars. You can have fun. What are you doing? I want to sell cars. I want to have fun.
Yeah.
They were going out after work. They were doing the I don't know what was back then, the Chili's and a beer or two, whatever. And I was 18. I thought they were older men. They were in late 20s, but I was looking up to them.
Yeah, of course.
And but I was totally committed. And I think a lot of that had to do with my upbringing. I think when you're being brought up in a sports environment, and you've got those disciplines coming into it, you're going to show up at this time. We're going to end at this time. This is what's expected. These are the non-negotiables. These are the non-tolerables. And if you can bring that with you to the workforce, you're going to be that much further ahead of the game when you start on day one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome right there. I appreciate that. I got to ask you this. I got to take it back to this one thing that you said earlier, because you're talking about sticking it out and making it happen. You mentioned laying out a plan and then sticking to the plan, which absolutely, I'm a huge proponent of planning the night before what you're going to practice, role play, how you're going to play the game tomorrow, right? Not waking up that day and then trying to figure it out. Being like, oh, what do I got to do today, right? But you said that you went at the time when you quit. You said, "I'm quitting today," and you didn't know what you were going to do.
Yeah.
Right. So I kind of want to go back to that for a moment, because I know there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know if I can do this another day. Tomorrow's the day. And they go in and they stick it out, and they're just existing, right? They're just hoping that it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what for you, like, it obviously was something that built up over time. And like, do you remember what was like the last straw, or what was like, I just can't do this anymore, I got to look for something else? Do you remember like what that was?
Yeah, I definitely do. So, when you study, Grant's trainings on Cardone University, and guys, if you're not on Cardone U, you're missing something special, right? But, he's got a segment on there about greener pastures. And what I would say to anybody is the last thing you should do is have a knee-jerk reaction and have that fight or flight mentality where if something doesn't go your way, you quit and you bolt, right? That's not what it's all about, right? You have to ask yourself, well, when you're at a place of employment, have you given that employer, have you given that opportunity, whatever it could be, you went out on your own, right? It could be your own gig. It could be you're going to take the licensee and leverage that. And you say, okay, these are my contacts. This is my power base. And you've got to water the grass. You've got to mow the grass. You've got to trim the lawn. You've got to bag the clippings. You've got to put them curbside. Yeah. And when you've done all that, and you've done all that over a period of time, and you're not fulfilled, it's probably time, right? It's because when you get home, and I don't care what kind of money you're getting paid, it really just doesn't matter. If you're not getting home fulfilled with what you did, the money is not going to take care of that. And for me, the company I was at, I knew it was the third time I quit, by the way. I quit one time and I made a huge mistake. I did a knee-jerk reaction.
So you're saying when you went to sell a product that you knew nothing about, in an industry you knew nothing about, where you didn't know anybody, you were basically saying, I'm done quitting.
Yeah, it really was. I quit. I came back with my tail between the legs and said, hey, I don't know why I quit yesterday. I did. Would you take me back? Yeah. He took me back. I quit a second time and he talked me out of it. But the third time, what happened with me, Justin, is I knew he was done. I knew the owner of the company was done. I saw him check out.
That's important.
Great guy. This guy was, the hardest person in the world to work for.
Yeah.
But he taught me so many things, right?
Sure.
But I just knew he was done. And I just knew, man, I love this thing called the car business. I love what it does. I love the new car environment. I love helping people. Mm-hmm. And I was now a manager. I was a general sales manager there at 21 years old. I was now growing a team. And I was like, okay, I want to go do this bigger.
Yeah.
And it was just, you just woke up and you just said, if I go on any further, I'm basically no longer happy with myself. And I think if you do get to that point where you're basically sacrificing your own well-being, mm-hmm. It's time to move on.
I'm so glad you bring that up, because that was going to be actually one of the next things I asked is some people they don't know what the trigger is. Like, what is the thing they should be looking for to say, okay, it's time to move. But before we jump into that, I just want to say, Jack Costella Jr., welcome from Facebook, saying, had a comment, said third time, smiley face. Lisa Castillo, great GSM, by the way. I think she's saying that's you. You're a great general sales manager.
I love Lisa. I love her. Hey, Lisa.
Yeah. So, hey, we got some great comments, lots of love coming your way. But yeah, a lot of people, I have somebody that I call a friend that we met, and the way that we got connected was through Grant Cardone and through trying to help him through his sales situation, right? And I think he's a great guy, good friend of mine now. But that was one of his things, is he was wanting to leave the company because he saw the direction it was going. And when we talked about, hey, it's not quite time yet, because he didn't know where he was going to go. He has a family. He's got things to think about. He's got bills. So even though it wasn't a great environment where he was at, he's wanting to do something different. We kind of stuck it out for a little bit longer until he knew in his heart, he's like, I can't do this no more. I got to go do something else. So Jim, can you talk just a minute? If you were to be talking with that person, that young guy, what kind of advice would you maybe give him, knowing that he's wanting to jump to something else? What would you say he would need to do?
Yeah, I would ask questions, right? That's the sales process. You ask questions to figure out what's the motive here. So when he shared with you that he was no longer in alignment with the direction that the business is going, that the ownership is taking the business, I would say, okay, well, what about that direction doesn't align with you? And, maybe start there, right? Because it may be where, number one, he doesn't own the business, right? So the other person owns the business. They've got the investment in that company, probably a big dollar investment. So I think that he should look at that and say, okay, well, let me make sure I'm giving them every single benefit of the doubt before I jump ship. Okay. Has he talked to them? Has he sat down and said, hey, listen, here's what's going on. Mm-hmm. I just feel like we're no longer in alignment. The company's going this way, and here's why it no longer aligns with my values. Very, very important, right? If you have certain values and it no longer aligns. And, sometimes just having that candid conversation, there's books out there, fierce conversations, candid conversations, whatever you want to call them, right? They're just uncomfortable conversations, no matter what it is.
I like that.
So it just doesn't matter. And the odds are something is going to get said that doesn't come out the right way. Something that's going to get said that doesn't get taken the right way, doesn't land on you or doesn't land on them the right way, what you said. So that's where I would start. And then I would say, then you got to do the responsible thing, right? Where's your skill set at this point in your career? Mm-hmm. So are you the type of individual that, let's just say hypothetically, you walked out today, is your skill set, you would have 10 people looking to hire you tomorrow morning, right? Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have kids, right? There is some responsibility there, right? So, when I got up and left, we were already at a point, even at a young age, I started assembling some money.
Okay.
And I felt comfortable. I felt confident in my own abilities. I just knew that I was going to be of value to somebody. Somebody was going to help bring me to that next level that I was looking to get at in my career. So that's what I would say to Grant says all the time, right? You don't do what you love, do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
To a point, right? To a point. If core values are being compromised, no, you don't do whatever it takes, right?
Yeah, let's stay on that just for a second. I like that, because here's the thing, right? Is there's a lot of folks that see Grant in when he's like, he's trying to get attention, and he says and does crazy stuff, and he gets attention for it. And I actually just had this conversation with another licensee this morning about how when you first get introduced to Grant's world, you're like, whoa, this guy's like crazy, off the charts. This guy will sell you snake oil, right? He'll do anything. But then once you actually start to understand what's behind the curtain, you start to get into his world, you see what he's doing and why he's doing it, you realize that he's trying to get attention so that he can help people. And here's something that you just brought up, is the values and the ethics of it. Even our call today, the head of licensees, Elliot Bernard, he was talking about, he was coaching us on how you can go out there and try to change your tonality, try to change your personality to match theirs, do all this sorts of crazy stuff that's out there, right? Or you can just be ethical, honest, and transparent, and just be a good person,
right?
And help people, right? And so, like, even in the close, I talk to people about closing a deal, and they say, well, what about? I tell them to be confident. You should be confident that this is the right decision for the customer. And they're like, well, how do you build that confidence? I'm like, are you a good person? Are you just trying to swindle them? Or are you trying to give them a great product and improve their life? And is your company behind you? Are they going to support them after the sale? If it's a yes, then great. You're confident. Let's do it. So what I just bring that up because that's really near and dear to my heart about people having confidence in what they're doing as a salesperson.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And I'll tell you, Justin, someone like yourself, you got introduced to Grant in 2017. So that was 4 years ago. I got introduced to Grant in 1990.
Man.
Wow. When Grant was on a satellite training network, and it was basically, if I remember correctly, we had a 19-inch, box TV up in our break room. And it was like, hey, there's this show called Objections Overruled. You're going to go up there for 30 minutes and you're going to watch this guy named Grant Cardone. He's going to sit across the desk from a lady and she's going to say this, he's going to say that. It's just going to be 30 minutes of handling objections, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Tom Stuker on the phone for 30 minutes. So, the Grant that I was introduced to at a very young age, Grant was just getting started. He had just transitioned out of the automobile business into the automotive training world. So even though he was confident, I mean, Grant's a different confident today, right? I mean, you approach billionaire status, you get a little cocky confident, right? And I probably would too, so I can see where it turns some people off.
Sure.
The Grant today, like if you go on a new YouTube Grant, that's why I love Cardone University, because those are the old videos, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, this was me going to Grant at the Holiday Inn in Homewood, Illinois, when there was 125 people in there, Wow. So that's the one I know. And I will tell you, you're spot on. Grant's just simple about, he'll talk about tonality and things like that a little bit, but he's like, just be ethical, just be honest, just be you.
Yeah. People
will value that more than anything else. And it's just a surefire way to success. Just be you.
Absolutely, 100%. So yeah, I appreciate that, Jim. It's amazing. You've known him since then. I've only been in his role since 2017, like you said, and it's amazing how some of the fundamentals that are in Cardone University that were true then are still true now. It's really neat to see. Hey, you said something a little while ago that I want to go back to if I can. Before I do that, I want to say, hey, Chris Spalding, hey brother, he's another licensee. Great to be on. Appreciate you saying great meeting. Appreciate you being here, man. Okay, so earlier you said you were a sales manager at age 21.
So I was a sales manager at age 18.
At 18.
At 18.
So
after 6 months of in the car business, I think I just turned 19.
Okay.
And I remember it like it was yesterday. He threw me the keys to a demo and he said, "You're a manager now." And that was it. You'll see a difference on your paycheck. Keep up the great work. So yeah,
go make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I guess I'm assuming nowadays how we develop our sales managers are a bit different, but there's probably still some businesses out there that still use that method. Would you agree with that?
100%. 100%.
Great. So let me ask you.
Because they can sell, they can manage people and grow them, and that just does not work that way. There's got to be a process. There's got to be a development process and personal and professional development every day.
Yeah. So hey, so we've been on the line for almost half an hour. But I want to dive into this sales manager arena just a little bit with you, because there's. Well, hold on a second. I got a comment here on Facebook. Jack Costello Jr., 19 years young, manager. Let's go. I'm assuming you know
Jack. Jack's a great guy. Hey there, Jack.
Yeah, awesome. So here's the thing is, there's tons of people out there. I know of one specific. Actually, I know two right now that are in that same boat. Maybe they're not 18 or 19, but they are just after a couple months of being successful. Now they're the sales manager and they have, a dozen sales folks that, in rotating shifts under them, that sort of thing. But they don't really have any formal training. They don't even have maybe Cardone U, things like that, but they know they need help. So I guess what I want to get at, Jim, is can you talk a little bit about, if you were to be talking to your younger 18, 19-year-old self, what advice or pointers can you give them?
Yeah, that's great, because I love that, because here's the reality. I know what I did, and I did it wrong in the beginning. And even the owner of the first dealership told me, hey, you're trying to do everything on your own, if you could get these guys trained up better,
yeah,
right? So that way you're not always jumping in and saving this and doing that. So if you can get, 5 or 6 of you on that team, that's going to rub off on the other guys. So it's all about multiplying what you were able to do, right? Maybe not at the same level. In fact, there may be guys that do it far greater than you ever could have when you were in sales, right? So I think that would be the advice that I give is I would tell them, hey, do everything you can to lead by example. So if you're going to talk about personal and professional development to your sales team, you had better be able to tell them, hey, I'm willing to invest in personal and professional development, right? Even money, not just time, but even money. Okay. So when you say, hey, you guys should be on this, you guys should be doing that. Hey, what book have you read? What podcasts are you listening to? Are you on a platform? I mean, obviously, both you and I are going to say, right, there's no better platform than Cardone University, period. I've seen them, right? When it comes to sales, there's no better. I've seen them all, right? And, but now, hey, if I'm looking to lead a company culture and things like that, I feel there's no better platform than John Maxwell, right?
Yep.
As far as culture building, team building, things like that. So that's what I would lead by example. Hey, listen, if you're gonna preach this, you've got to be doing it yourself. In fact, you probably need to be doing it side by side for a certain length of time until you see that they now start doing it on their own. And that's when you know you're building something special. These guys are now developing. Otherwise, it's just going to be churn and burn is what it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
You're always going to be the hero, but you're always churning and burning.
So here's something else you said earlier in the conversation is you personally took the initiative to seek out those that were being successful, doing what you needed to be doing. So one of the questions that has come up from one of these sales managers has been, I feel like the salespeople, frontline salespeople, don't believe they can be one of these people. They don't believe they can have the same success as the others they're looking at. So what can they do to help them believe in themselves?
Yeah, so that's a between the ears thing, right? So there's something going on in what they're taking in daily that's causing that negativity. Right? So if you can replace that negativity with something positive, they'll stop thinking that way. I think it was Napoleon Hill or Earl Nightingale that said, as a man thinketh, so he becometh. I can tell you right now, I was 18 years old. I was up late. I got home, I don't know what time it was, 11 o'clock at night. I didn't know it at the time, but Tony Robbins, it was his very first infomercial in 1987. I didn't know it then. Here's this guy, 30-minute infomercial.
I didn't know that.
$265 for a set of 6 cassette tapes. I was going to have a heart attack getting out my credit card for $265 at that age. I'm like, oh my God, what am I about to do? This guy is like, it's like he's talking directly to me on the TV. And I'm like, I'm scared shitless about this $265. It was the best move I ever made. That was my introduction to personal and professional development until I saw Grant in 1990. Then I was like, holy cow, this guy is at a whole nother level. And he was just getting started. So when I went to the second dealership, I came there and I said, hey, where do you guys watch your Grant Cardone trainings at? And they're like, who's Grant Cardone? And it was like, oh, okay. And it was a whole thing. Hey, the first time Grant came in, I forgot who the guy was that was marketing with him. I had to give a money back guarantee to my sales reps because the dealership wouldn't cover the expense. And I said, if you don't think it's worth the money, I think they were $200 for a ticket, maybe $250, whatever they were. I'll pay you back. Just don't lie to me and say it wasn't worth it when it's done, right? Be honest with me. But that's really, you got to lead by example. When you start leading by example and you can tell them, get them immersed in things where it's going to build their confidence. Once you get the confidence, let's take the car business, right? Okay, whatever the car dealership is, I'm just going to stick with Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram. That's what I knew for 24 years, right? Once you know the Dodge Ram, you're confident, right?
Yeah.
Now you've got to get the process down, get confident on that, the sales process, and you're going to have the confidence. And just start stacking little wins. Just sell a car. Even if you don't follow the method, as Grant says, intention always trumps the method. If your intention is to help, you can screw up the method And because you're intentional, you're still going to sell something. You want to help. They came in with a problem.
Yeah.
What they're driving now is what they don't want to go home with. And you just got to figure out the dollars and cents.
Yeah, I love the intentional aspect. And some people also I feel like some people misconstrue the intention, right? The intention is not to get a big paycheck. Like, of course, you want to be rewarded for your efforts, but the intention is always to help solve problems.
Yeah, I see Chris mentioned there, Alpha Dog. Yeah, I was at a couple of his seminars too. A different guy, right? Open up your family a 10 grand over sticker, right? And smoke and choke, and just a different style. Yeah, no doubt.
That's awesome. Hey, so what do you think about, real quick, about I really want to talk about sales meetings. The meetings with the manager. The manager comes out with their sales team, and they have those weekly meetings, or they'll have like an end of day meeting, things like that. Of course, you're going over stats and you're talking about the specials and all that stuff. But do you have any tips or what's your experience with trying to provide some motivation, some excitement to life? Because you're right. To me, selling is fun. I love selling. It doesn't matter if it's a car, motorcycle, a cell phone. I just love it.
Yeah. Stop calling them meetings. Call them trainings, right? Call them something other than meetings, right? Nobody likes meetings.
Yeah.
The meetings, I'll tell you right now, the meetings are the death of me, right? It really is. It's just, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I get antsy. Training, and I'll do training 18 hours a day, right? And the training should be motivational, educational, something relational that they can take one thing, right? Hey, is there one thing that you took out of today that you can go and apply? Meetings normally don't do that, right? They're meetings. I think meetings today, Justin, you can do in quick little 10-minute bursts. Hey, we need to have a quick meeting about this. This is happening, and we need to curb it right away because we're establishing a bad habit, or something may really go wrong here. But when you're having what I would call in the car business, your Saturday morning trainings, at our company at Permaseal, dude, we train. We train. We have 3 hours of training every Friday, 3 hours, and then we train on Monday on a Zoom call. We train on Tuesday on a Zoom call, is what we do.
Okay.
And we take training very, very seriously, because the better skill they're going to get at training, the less meetings we're going to need.
That's awesome. I love that. I love the idea that the focus is training, and then
training culture.
Yeah, and then the admin stuff. Yeah, you can bring that along. It's part of it, but that's not the focus, right? I love that. Chris says meetings are about ego. Trainings are about growth.
Spot on, Chris. Yeah, amen, man. Spot on.
So, hey, let me ask you, Jim, with where you're at now, of course, I appreciate any info you can give us, but you don't have to give us stuff you're not supposed to or whatever, but the inner workings of where you're at now.
Yeah.
How do you guys have people going out door knocking, making phone calls? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So, first of all, we're a home construction business. We specialize in foundation repair. So we deal with homes with, foundational issues.
Okay.
We do concrete raising, a lot of things we do in the construction field, but majority of our business, it's the customer calling us. So we're doing in-home sales, totally different than retail sales in the automobile business. And, you look at our company's history, like every company has a story. Grant's got his story that we've heard a million times over. Well, the story at Permaseal is this guy named Roy, who put an ad in the paper in 1979, a $12 ad, mind you, $12, right? And 42 years, he's got this $50 million company.
What's the ROI on that? That's huge.
It's huge. And we're not where we want to be, right? Our goal is for a $100 million a year company. And because we know these homes are getting older, they're twisting and turning, they have problems, and there's more and more people to help. And that's where our growth is at. The growth is always in who can you help? As Grant says, who has a problem? Mm-hmm. And do you have a widget that will fix their problem?
Wow.
Is there something you have that will fix their problem? If you do, it's your duty, it's your obligation, responsibility to get out there, get known. And that's one of the things that Permaseal has done great. The owner, Roy Spencer, he's the best known in the business. Grant says it's not the best. It's not the. It's not the best product.
It's best known.
It's not the best product. It's the best known.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate we have both, right? We can't have our cake and eat it too. We have the best product, we are the best known, and we are hiring, right? We're looking for more salespeople. So that's what we do in-home sales. It's in-home consultation. So if you had an issue with your home, you would call our company. We have a 10X appointment center team that takes the inbound call, gathers the information, a few very, very minor qualifying questions. We're not going to totally overqualify in the home. And we have a sales process that we follow is what we do. And it's a process that's question driven and solution based. Very, very low pressure. That was one of the things I had to get away from in the car business. You know, it was hammer time in the car business. In this line of work, you're in a very much consultative conversation because you're in their home. They're not in your dealership.
Yeah, and that's important, right? So Grant he talks about also he talks about this as well. He talks about going to the client and how that you want to make the sales process as easy as possible for the client. So I love that you guys actually go to them and you're not like, you don't have like a place they got to come to view your presentation book and talk about all the features and all that stuff, right? And then you're going to send somebody out there and do the estimate, all that. You're just going to, hey, let's go there. Let's do it all right then and there in the comfort of their home and let's help them out, right?
100%. Our guys take from the appointment, once they enter the door, they take it from A to Z.
Man, love that. Love that.
So very, very easy, very, very seamless. We make it easy. And our guys love it. Our customers love it that way. How do we know that? We do get, your online presence is your presence now, right? That is your reputation now. It's no longer word of mouth. It's what does Google say you are? What does the Business Bureau say you are? It's now Aunt Sally down the street says you are.
Yeah. Hey, Jack, appreciate the comments. Jim, you can probably see him there. Convenient for the client and inconvenient for the sales professional. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, I just want to say thanks, Door Service English joined on Instagram. Appreciate you jumping in and checking it out. We're here just talking about basically some of the challenges you have as a salesperson with, hey, you're not enjoying where you're at. You're thinking about jumping and going somewhere else. And really what it takes to do that, to actually be successful going somewhere else. We've also dived in a little bit with the sales management piece. And Jim, I'd like to definitely do some more with you on the sales management piece. Maybe we can set up some reoccurring meetings going or trainings, not meetings, sorry. Some conversations going forward, and we can talk about that and dive into more of the sales manager role. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And anybody who's on here, definitely, if you've got responsibilities in life, you've got to do what it takes where you're at. That would be my biggest piece of advice. I think even Grant got labeled a few years back where people were quitting their jobs, and they were saying, well, you were just telling me to commit, and they weren't able to process really what he was saying. He was not saying that, right? There's a little bit of emotional intelligence that you need there. That don't lose your first source of income until you've got the second source up and running, right? You don't want to do that. If you're going to leave your only source of income and you're at a point in life where you've not built up enough to weather the storm, what if it doesn't work out at the next place? Hey, what if you are the problem, right? Because wherever you go, there you are, right?
Yep.
You are the problem. It isn't that place, and it wasn't the previous place, and it wasn't the previous place.
Yeah.
They're all still in business, and you're still job hopping, right?
Yeah, exactly. So and that's why I tell people, I was like, okay, you're going to leave here. Where are you going to go, and how is it going to be different?
Right.
You're still going there.
Yeah.
You're still selling, right? You're still doing things. So
no, I'd love to do this again. I enjoyed it. Yeah. It's it's number one for me. So again, I am super appreciative of you reaching out. And saying, hey, who would like to collaborate on this? And I reached out to you, dude. You called me within 2 minutes.
Yeah, man.
We had a great talk, and hopefully somebody got something out of this tonight.
100%. And Rosa says we have a 10X team. Man, it sounds like you got a great.
Rosa's our recruiter. She is 10X. Rosa's our recruiter at PermaSeal. It's careers.permaseal.net. Yeah, careers.permaseal.net, I believe is what it is.
Hey, Rosa, put it in the comments. Put it in the comments.
Yeah, put it in the comments, Rosa. Put it in there. Now, we are looking for salespeople. I mean, our guys all earn over 6 figures.
Yeah.
And there is zero prospecting, right? Zero. We give you the leads.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know how, like, I don't know of too many businesses that can claim that, hey, we're going to give you all the leads. Don't worry about it. And you're going to probably, very, very, very strong chance you're going to make 6 figures. You got to put in the work, but you're going to make 6 figures.
100%.
Do you know of any other business that's telling people that? I don't know.
I don't care about any other business. I care about PermaSeal right now.
That's right. Good. I just don't know of any. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing, right? It's about branding, right? It's about omnipresence in our market, right? When you think of in the Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana market, and when you think of basement foundation repair, you think of PermaSeal. I mean, the owner of our company, he understood the business cycle before Grant started teaching on it. It's marketing first.
Yeah.
Marketing comes before sales. Everybody thinks, everything begins and ends with sales, and the world can't survive without sales. And they got news for you. The world can't survive. You won't survive if the world doesn't know you.
100% right there.
If your world is Chicagoland, you've got to get Chicagoland to know you. If your world is Northwest Indiana, you got to get them to know you before you have any chance to sell them anything. So it starts with marketing, and that's what Roy has done fantastic with our company.
I love that. Jim. You know, I also love that for another reason. I'm so glad you brought that up. Just real quick, and then I'll let you go. Just one more thing. So on the car business, there's a lot of sales folks in the car business that just wait for the leads to come to them, walk on the lot, take the ups, and do that business. I would love to maybe talk more with you on another segment about the leads portion, the prospecting portion, the getting known portion of being a car salesman. Would you be up for that?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right. Hey, Rosa, thanks for putting that in there. PermaSeal sounds like a great company, man. Maybe I should come work with y'all.
Hey, Kevin Gray. Kevin Gray just transferred down to Nashville. Kevin, miss you, man. He was one of our senior sales managers. Yeah. I mean, I'm super. I'm trying to look at the comments as I'm talking to you, and my camera's down here, so it's like it's getting me all crazy. So, but man, I'm super appreciative of everybody who joined on. Appreciative of you, and looking forward to doing number 2, 3, and 4. We'll see where it goes from there.
Absolutely. James Williams, appreciate you jumping on. Love that Grant Cardone quote there. If they don't know you, they can't flow you.
James is one of our 10Xers. Yeah, he's with our company, and he's all about it.
Man, wonderful. Hey, Jim, it's been great to have you. Hey, y'all, we're gonna sign off here. We've been on for almost an hour now, but we'll have some follow-ons and bring you some more value. I appreciate y'all. If you got something out of this, please put comments, reach out to us. Jim is also a licensee. Reach out to him as well. I'm sure you can find him on social. And I hope that you are able to use this information that Jim has passed, this wisdom, to increase your income and reach your goals. All right, y'all. Jim, anything else you'd like to say?
Hey, just wish everybody a great night. Stay safe, stay healthy. And hey, everybody can have a 10X life. You just got to commit to it.
100%. All right. Good night, y'all.